Hello, I'm Corey Pitzer and I'm the CEO of Safemap. I have some exciting announcements to make about our tool to identify, analyze the safety culture in an organization. Now, of course, we like to refer to this as the risk culture, and I'll explain why. But the announcements that I want to make is new developments in the way we conduct surveys and the way we analyze them, and the way we present them to you. It is called PRISMA Culture Surveys. And what does PRISMA stand for? It is an acronym for psychological safety. It measures that. It measures risk propensity, or what would influence people to take risks. It measures the integration between your safety systems, procedures, with your operational processes, a very key issue. It measures the strength of the culture in the organization, how mature it is, and how aligned it is. These are things I'll explain in a moment. But first of all, I have to explain the science of surveys. An important research related to what we do was conducted by Daniel Kahneman, and he got the Nobel Prize for this, and it was published in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Now, this is very important. What does thinking fast and slow mean? Fast thinking is error prone. It is where people take risks. It's what we do and use all day. Slow thinking is in the back of people's minds when we think analytically and not necessarily how we would think about actions we take every single day. An example, in this scenario, a person is working next to a conveyor belt. He sees a piece of rag in the rollers. Now, immediately, what is he going to do? What is the most prevalent issue in his mind? In the slow thinking mode, he would do a lockout, tag out. He would go out and switch the machine off before he removes that. In the fast thinking mode, he will just reach out quickly, rip the rag out, and carry on with the process without disturbing production. Now, it is now critical what is in the forefront of his mind. And do we actually measure that? If we use a questionnaire with a Likert scale in it, and we give people the option to read the statement and give 5 possible choices, and we give them statements such as, formal safety audits at regular intervals are a normal part of our business. I agree or disagree on a 5-point scale. Does that really affect that person's behavior right now? And in a similar way, with statements or questions like this on culture surveys, the extent to which the employee feel empowered, the quality of safety audits, frequency of safety meetings, quality and effectiveness of safety meetings, the presence of off-the-job safety programs, these have got nothing to do with his next action, and we have to measure that. Now, Safemap has been measuring this intuitive thinking for many years. Some of you may know that we've developed many years ago a system to survey people in group sessions where a facilitator reads statements and people have audience response clickers, and they simply respond to the statements, yes, I agree or not, by simply press a button on a clicker. Now, that is the most ideal way of doing it, but it still requires people to go to a room and be surveyed by a facilitator. We have developed an equivalent in terms of web surveys, but a very special one. On our web surveys, we have a rundown timer. If people read a statement, they don't get time to think, they have to respond very quickly before the statement disappears. I'll show you that in a moment. But now we've also developed a method where the statement is read out by a voice, because some people have difficulty reading. People don't normally read a lot. And when you give them a written questionnaire, they're not that comfortable with it. But this survey is voiceover, and the person simply has to listen to the statements, and this is what it looks like.
In our workplaces, we are poorly protected from being injured.
See the timer running out? Agree or pass is the choice.
This company has a clear policy that safety is important.
Again, agree or pass. And in this way, when we measure this with this very fast mode, fast thinking, There's no time for people to game the results, to give the answer that they think you want to know, a very common mistake. There's no typical agreement bias. Some people agree with statements mostly. Some people disagree with statements. Some people tend to respond down the middle of a 5-point Likert scale. In our methodology, all of these are gone. It's not done. There's no reading error because people can simply listen to statements. The intuitive response is measured, and that intuitive response is what we measure and need to measure to know what people will do out in the workplace. What will drive risk-taking behavior? So what is measured? Before we start the measurements, we set up the survey for the organization in terms of various job levels and also in terms of various departments or functions or regions, teams, shifts or rotations, whatever the organization is made up. And I can show you now what we measure. We measure two entities, what we call safety culture, the visible side of it, and risk culture, the invisible side. And we have probably the most comprehensive culture model available today. 46 factors that we measure, every possible angle on culture. And we've rearranged them in our analysis and in our feedback into 12 key indicators. A measurement of the commitment to safety, of trust in leadership, and the response to failure. A measurement of performance improvement, engagement, and the degree to which the team impacts people's behaviors. What pressures exist on risk-taking from my job? Are decisions accepted in the organization? And what is the level of integration between rules and operations? And then formal safety practices, employee stresses, and what is the level of risk transparency? Now, our database is simply enormous. We probably have one of the largest databases out there in the world of organizational culture assessments. And it's arranged from bottom quartile right down to top companies. And when we compare you against these benchmarks, like for instance against top companies, you can see with what we call heat maps on those 12 indicators exactly where your organization response levels are. If it's green, you responded at top company level. If it's blue, you've responded average industry level. Yellow, lower, and red, you've responded at bottom quartile level. And here is an example of an organization where we clearly identified the issues that could influence the organization's safety performance. And this allows you to take specific actions. Let me quickly show you the various indicators. Let's look at psychological safety. Based on the work of Amy Edmondson, and even before her work, it was identified by James Reason as types of culture. And he identified 5 types of culture. And in our model, this is how we measure them. We've identified several factors from our model to identify and to measure the various types of psychological safety cultures. And we would present them to you in charts like this, where you can clearly see where your psychological safety is failing, in this case, in flexible and learning levels of the cultures, or in heat maps like this. We also will show you the maturity of your organization compared to various models of safety maturity, like the Shell model or the Bradley curve. Safemap has developed our own model in this regard, and our database sits on top of this, and we can tell you where your organization came out in terms of sites or levels, what the maturity of responses are. And then, of course, the last one, alignment, which is probably one of the most important indicators of the organization's culture, is how aligned the various levels are. And in our analysis, we show this with charts like this, which is based on correlation analysis, to show the congruency, the alignment between various levels. The top one there is our top company benchmark, and you can see how highly correlated those levels are, as against this example here, where the alignment is significantly lower. This is the measurement of alignment. The various features of PRISMA is, in the first instance, unequaled survey methodology. And secondly, a few key characteristics are as follows. We have a global database against which benchmarking can be done. We've arranged our model into 12 strategic indicators. The PRISMA metrics, as I've explained, are unrivaled in the world of organizational culture. We show our results in very graphical and in video reports. We create video reports to feed back to your organization. And we have a range of follow-up interventions available that could assist you in optimizing your culture afterwards. There's also follow-up measurements available. Once you've embarked on a transformation process, down the line, we can measure you again, and you can identify what has worked, what hasn't worked so well. And it is extremely easy to deploy our culture surveys in your organization. And here are the benefits. It's done at lowest cost and the highest quality. It's like getting a monkey survey done at the most advanced levels of survey quality. There's no reading or literacy required. We can deploy this at every level of the organization. And the following benefits are important. It maps the impact of your leadership in the organization. We give you a unique deep dive and advanced analysis on culture. The metrics for psychological safety will assist you to develop that in your organization. It provides actionable insights, and it outlines in your organization what you should stop, start, and continue to do. It gives you heat maps of your risk culture, and it is almost an ECG of the organization's heartbeat. This is an amazing tool, and now made so accessible, you can easily start to deploy this and get the benefits in no time at all. If you have already done a survey with Safemap in the past, you can redeploy this, and we can give you information against your previous surveys. And here are some of the examples of organizations who participated in our surveys. These organizations have all benefited in significant ways in creating a safety transformation in their organization. Our team, located right around the world, is ready and available to assist you in every which way we can to start the process of transformation with you. Thank you very much. Hope to hear from you.